Honourable Nanaia Mahuta.
For us to speak to the bill and why we're going to be voting for it. As expressed previously, the bill comprises of a technical amendment to extend restrictions on the awarding of compensation brought in by the Prisoners and Victims Claims Act 2005 for 2 years, from the 1st of July this year until the 30th of June 2012. The Government has indicated that this is an interim measure. Interesting that his own member says that he's disappointed that that is the case. And we understand that a more comprehensive bill may be introduced later this year. Contributions on this side of the House have raised a flag up and asked the Government to think about the victims of sexual abuse and reinstate funding to ACC to support those same victims through counselling and support services. And there have been numerous local examples from members of the Labour team expressing just how important those services are to women and men throughout the country. It's not good enough for members on that side of the House to purport to listen to the rights and interests of victims when those who have suffered sexual abuse, those who are vulnerable, are suffering both physical and mental abuse, and they continue to do so. They're not able to receive ACC funding to break through some very dark places, and a number of us have been told at a personal level some stories that we wouldn't repeat in this House, but suffice to say they are the types of stories that one would urge this whole House to think again, and certainly members of the opposition to get their ministers to address it, act now, address this issue of funding and ensure that women can get the type of support and counselling services that they need, women and men. They are victims too, Minister, and they need help. I've also listened to other views expressed in the House and would agree that the Government cannot create further victims as a result of their policy flaws and the flaws in some of their thinking. Policies like double bunking that was raised, increasing the risk to both prisoners and security guards. I mean, go and visit a prison and just look at how small those rooms are with single beds, let alone double beds. None of many of the prisons were designed to be double bunked, and they are such small, closed and confined spaces. Policies like container cells, creating conditions that I believe are inhumane. No matter how you dress it up, if you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. These are inhumane conditions, and I don't think that's the way to go. Profit-driven incentives through private management of prisons where the bottom line is more important than rehabilitation initiatives and programs aimed at reducing long-term recidivism. Yes, it does take investment. Rethinking the 3 strikes you're out policy. That is just a dumb policy. But these are all a range of measures that the Government have introduced, on the same hand creating victims in some sense, but also not creating a very good approach to a way forward that supports restorative justice, that supports rehabilitation, that reduces recidivism and that promotes greater investment in the system. Mr Speaker, I raise these issues to draw attention to the numerous matters resulting from the Government's broader policy ambitions. At the end of the year, the House will be waiting to see how the Government intends to stitch together a comprehensive approach to addressing victims' rights. We can't wait. However, Mr Speaker, this country can ill afford to take a lock 'em up and throw away the key approach. Restorative models of justice are necessary. Long-term rehabilitation to reduce recidivism is absolutely critical. Investing at the front end of youth development initiatives will go some way to making a difference, to the long-term difference to the lives of many New Zealanders, and make for a better New Zealand. But will the Government listen? That's the question. Mr Speaker, this bill contains a minor technical amendment. The bigger debate is yet to come. We can already see the writing of the wall in terms of the policy ambitions and the devastation that will result from it. But the country deserves more from this Government, and it should do more.